How's it going, everyone? It's Frankie Martinez with Heart of a Warrior Strength, and today we're doing another Coach's Chronicle. But today we're talking about something super important that affects, damn near anybody I know when it comes to performance, which is performance anxiety, or in this scenario, sports anxiety. I want to explain where sports anxiety kind of stems from. In most cases, if not all cases, it essentially comes from a place of inadequacy, and honestly, more so the opinions of others when it comes to performance. So, how is the crowd going to react? How are the coaches going to react? How are recruiters going to react? Things like that. So, especially when it comes to those bigger, maybe conference, league, sectional, regional, state, national level competitions, there seems to be a lot more anxiety that kind of arises. Of course, because you obviously care about the event or the sport you're doing, but also because, hey, like, if I mess this up, what is my mom gonna think, or my dad gonna think, or coach gonna think, or the recruiter of that big school I want to really get into. So the anxiety really stems from other people's opinions, honestly. Your opinion should matter the most when it comes to your activity, your sport, your life in general. So once you have that, I guess, that self-confidence, to be able to have your own opinion matter more than others' opinions, those things start to kind of dissipate. Every performance, every meet is a little different, but one performance is not going to define who you are as an athlete or a competitor. There are those scenarios in which, of course, it would be awesome to have that nice trophy or that plaque hanging on the wall, but let's be serious. Let's think about some of the best competitions ever. The Olympics. Who can tell me who won the gold medal in the fourth ever Olympics? Who can tell me who won the shot put in the, let's talk about something more recent. Let's say 6 Olympics ago. Who won the men's shot put? It gets a little bit harder, right? And that was only 6 Olympics ago. And so what I'm trying to say is that it usually goes year by year, event by event. But after that, those events, even though at that time period were the most important events ever, the Olympics, maybe the Super Bowl. Who can tell me who won Super Bowl 25, right? It's probably going to be a little bit harder than just knowledge off the top of your head, right? So even though those competitions, those big games, or whatever it may be, the performance may be a humongous deal at that moment, those happenings, those competitions, that game won't matter as much as you believe it will. Based off relevancy in sports is based off of almost every single year. It's almost a flush when it comes to competitions. When it comes to performances, you have to redo basically everything. You get a wash every single cycle, every single year, every single championship season, or essentially the performance or that competition will start to dissipate or start to kind of lose a little bit of relevancy. So kind of rest assured that at this moment, it may feel like it's the end of the world, but I guarantee you in like 10 years, when you're a little bit older, or when those competitions have been far removed, those competitions will seem less important, and now the new competition will seem more important. I remember, just kind of a personal story. I was a pretty accomplished athlete in my area. I was able to capture conference championships. I went to state championships in high school. Same thing in junior college. I was on the all-time list. I got the school record and All-American award at my university where I attended at the 4-year. And seemingly those things were important for those years, or that year in which I was attending. But as the next year came up, and the next year came up, and the next year came up, and the next year came up, those names start to kind of just fade away a little bit. And it's because, hey, I'm no longer in college. It's been a while. And although in those moments, those achievements were ultra important to me, they start to kind of dissipate a bit. But with that being said, just kind of allow yourself to have your own approval for yourself. For example, myself, I'm still, hey, like I accomplished these goals. I accomplished my All-American status I achieved, my degrees, for example, and those things are the things that matter to me, because there'll always be a new state champion, a new conference champion, a new national champion, so on and so forth. So I give myself basically my own self-worth. But we're going to talk about how to be able to gauge our anxiety when it comes to in performance, in competition, and outside of competition. And this is also applicable to any performance scenarios in which you have to potentially perform, you have to sing, you have to do some kind of presentation. These are all applicable in those moments. So let's talk about what you can do, or how we can gauge this first, and then what we can do. So what I've actually used to gauge what's the proper arousal is the Yerkes-Dodson law. So essentially, there are two spectrums, high and low, or low and high. And essentially, the low would be something where you're sleepy, you're fatigued. High would be where you have strong stress, anxiety, and impaired performance. So these things are really important to recognize, because we want to be able to have a sweet spot of both the low and the high to be able to have maximal performance or maximal output. Now, how we achieve this is the next thing. So again, this is in performance. Each sport, I want to say, is subjective to a lower or higher arousal. And it's important to understand what allows us, or what gets us to a higher, a low, or a lower arousal. So let's first talk about maximal arousal. So these are the things that get you going, that make you move, that allow you to just want to, lift a house. Here are a couple things that I've listed. Loud or fast-paced music, caffeine, so this would include energy drinks or coffee, anything related to that, screaming or shouting, and slapping your legs or slapping any other part of your body. These are all things that are going to allow you to raise up your arousal if you're on that lower end of the spectrum, which was the fatigue, the sleepiness, stuff like that. Those are things that are recommended that you can do in order for you to raise the arousal, in order for you to perform optimally. Now, the big one is usually how to minimize these things during competition. Now, there are a lot of scenarios in which, I coach the throws and lifting. And when I see some athletes when they're in the ring, oftentimes they're hyperventilating, their breathing is really loud, they're listening to loud music. These are all things that are going to raise your stress and anxiety to an all-time high. And it's important to know that those things need to be taken out first. So if there are things that are raising your arousal, slapping your thighs, loud music, energy drinks or coffee, anything like that is going to raise your arousal, and you want to stay away from those things. Okay. Now, to talk about things that was going to lower the anxiety levels or going to minimize or calm your arousal, there are going to be things like, and this is the one that I actually do on the spot every single time I'm going in the ring and I feel anxious. It's deep breathing. Inhale through the nose, hold, and exhale. The 4-7-8 is really important to remember. 4-7-8. So 4 seconds, inhale through the nose, hold for 7 seconds, and then exhale 8 seconds. If you're in the ring, for example, you have a lot less time, basically, right? So I do more of a 3-1-4 or a 2-1-3. So 2 seconds breathe in, 1 second hold, and then 2 seconds exhale. And the reason why I do that is because we have about a minute in the ring, and after that, we're going to be out of luck. Number 2, calming music. So there are things that are recommended if there is an arousal rate for high tempo music, maybe with lyrics. Calming music, nature sounds, and classical music with no lyrics will allow you to also relax. Oftentimes when we have things that are really loud, big bass, and lyrics, sometimes even like R&B or jazz, could potentially allow us to think otherwise or focus on another subject that may cause you anxiety while performing. The third one, finding a quiet place. walking to an area with less stimulants, less stimulus of the crowd, of the coach, of the cheering. Just kind of walk off and allow yourself to kind of remove yourself from that situation. Go off to maybe a quiet corner across the field, or across the platform, or across the room, that will allow you, or even the bathroom, just to allow you to start to kind of just lower the voices in your mind saying you have to, you need to do it, and allow yourself to neutralize your feelings. Another one is use a scent. So a calming scent, things that were recommended were chamomile or lavender. Another great tidbit is potentially using a cologne or perfume of significant other, or someone who means a lot to you. Maybe it's your mom or your sister or your brother or your whoever it is that takes care of you, or you have positive memories tied to, that'll allow you to kind of just calm down a little bit and just, stimulate some positive memories, and it'll allow you to ultimately just come down a little bit. Another great point is self-talk. So there was a brief moment in time in which, in high school and actually in college, in which I did not have a coach, and I thought I was kind of losing it when I was self-talking to myself, or almost self-coaching myself when I'm in the ring, to allow myself to believe basically what I'm saying, right? I go into competition knowing that I am the killer. I'm not going to be the one that's getting killed. I am the best possible version of myself, so I'm going to go perform or do my thing. And the way that I would achieve that, and after my breathing or some of these exercises or things that I've done to calm my arousal rate here, was positive self-talk. So things like, and this reminds me of a scene in Nacho Libre where Ramses, he's getting his massage, and he's like, Ramses is the best, his muscles are the best.
Ramses is the number one. His legs are number one. His eyes are number one.
But basically just telling positive affirmations. You are the best. You are the greatest. You can do this. You've practiced this. I have confidence that I can perform or do this because I've rehearsed it, because I've done it before already in practice, right? Telling myself positive things while I'm in the ring or I'm in competition, reminding myself of who I am and not situationally what's happening, or potentially if someone else went and did something big. I still tell myself to be able to, again, neutralize myself a bit. I am the best, or I've done this before, or I can do it, stuff like that. I don't know if it's a generational thing. I've seen a lot more acceptance to negative talk, or negative self-talk when it comes to being in a competition environment. And let me tell you something, negative self-talk is contagious. Negativity within your practice environment is toxic. It is a cancer. Do not allow yourself or your teammates to repeat negative self-talk. Do not allow anyone around your circle to have negative self-talk. There's always going to be a scenario in which it's negative, or it's hot, I'm sweaty, I'm tired. People know that. And you're in competition and you hear someone say, oh my goodness, you're naming all the obstacles, like it's hot, I'm tired, I had a bag of hot Cheetos for lunch and no dinner or whatever, or lunch. Those are all negative self-talks. You're already convincing yourself that you're gonna have a bad performance. Even if the scenario is bad, change that into a positive. We already know that there's these negative scenarios. Everyone else in that competition is gonna have to deal with similar scenarios as you. So allow yourself to have some positive self-talk. It's okay. I will do the best version of my throw or my lift today because I believe in myself and my training, my coach. I know I'm the best. This is negative self-talk. Do not talk about anything negative in regards to performance in order for you to be able to move positively through. And even if you had one bad throw, one bad lift, or anything regarding that, just tell yourself, I got this. The next row is going to be the best. All it takes is one throw. Don't allow negative thoughts, negative feelings to seep in your environment or in your head. Only positive self-talk. I'm the best. I got this. I can do this. Don't worry about it. I got this. I put it in my hands. Trust me. Trust yourself. These are all things that you should be able to remind yourself. When I go in the ring, I say, you got this, trust yourself, I'm a badass. Like, these are all things that I kind of repeat in my brain, especially if I hear negative comments coming everywhere else. Remind yourself of the positive stuff. That is all I got for you guys today. Make sure that you guys are tuning in to the next video, which is actually, we're going to dive into a little bit more of the competition anxiety, or sports anxiety, but we're actually basing that off of practice. So we're going to just make this a 2-part series of the Coach's Chronicles when it comes to sports performance anxiety. And this is pretty much just going to be one of those things that I try and update, just the subjects that may help you guys out through either daily practices or performances in general. So if you guys have any other ideas in regards to what you guys want to see content wise, please let me know and I'll make sure to cover it in the next couple videos. This is Frankie Martinez with Heart of a Warrior Strength. See you guys next time.